Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That was absolutely incredible. That was phenomenal. That was out of this world spectacular. Fantastic knockout. Great finish. The man is more exciting than Khabib ever has been. And he's fantastic. He's so good. Islam Makhachev defeats Alexander Volkanovski by first round head kick into ground and pound. I said it could happen. I knew it could happen. In my mind, I knew it was most likely going to happen, but I just felt like Volk was going to defy all odds. I know what you're going to comment. You're going to say, I told you so. Look, it's very easy to back Islam Makhachev. You know, his style is so good for MMA. It's boring to watch a lot of the time, bar tonight. He's a wet blanket type of fighter. He doesn't necessarily want to give out much damage. He just wants to win rounds, and it's just their style of fighting out there. And it's fantastic. He's a champion. He's earned so much money. He's got the job done, regardless of what people think. In Abu Dhabi, so fair play to him. And Volk did look slightly fat, I must say. Not necessarily fat, but he looked very chubby in the cage. When Buffer was announcing him, and Makhachev did look a bit tense, a bit nervous, and Volk looked ready. He was saying on the walkout, I'm coming for everything, I'm going to take everything, and he was mentally ready. He took the fight on short notice, but I would never say it was a mistake. Maybe not smart, but never a mistake, And I loved watching the fight. I loved the spectacle of a main event. The card was terrible. The card was so bad, and the reason I didn't live stream the whole card was genuinely just because I hate when cards are in Abu Dhabi and they stack it full of people's last names end in Magomedov, Sharipov, Dulididov, Makhachev, and all this and that. It's just, you know what you're going to get. Bar Hamzat Chimaev Usman, which was a terrible fight. I didn't enjoy watching it. It was a very interesting one to watch. I did quite enjoy watching it just for just to gauge skill level, shall we say. But apart from that, it was not a very good fight, and I literally think it could have just been a draw. Like, it wasn't. After the first round, it was anyone's fight, and if Usman had a full fight camp, Usman would have beaten him 100%. So that kind of gives us a gauge of Hamzat's skill level. But back to the one we're all here to see. Back to the one we're all here to talk about. Man, it sucks for Alexander Volkanovski, but he can go back down to featherweight and become the greatest of all time at that weight division, Realistically, Islam Makhachev will go up to pound for pound number 2 in the world after this win, and Volkanovski will stay at 3. Or 4 maybe. It sucks because I love Volk, but he's such a great character for the sport, and he says he wants to fight in January. Is that a mistake? I think that it would be a mistake. Take time, get your body back to health. You've just been kicked really hard in the head, wobbled, and maybe not necessarily hurt, but that's a big bit of blunt force trauma. Before that in the fight, we had obviously Makhachev shooting. Volkanovski tree trunks him, defends him, underhooks him, and gets him up against the cage. They kind of reverse each other, but meanwhile Makhachev was landing a lot of body kicks, a lot of significant knees in the clinch, and they were doing what they were supposed to do. I believe that Makhachev done a very, very good job in the clinch with Volkanovski, just taking his time, landing itty bitty shots, and that he threw that body kick twice early, and then he skimmed the head kick on the first attempt, and the first attempt was in the first 30 seconds, and I knew that was kind of common. Volkanovski is so small. Truly, it's a great win for Makhachev, but it is against a true featherweight. Regardless of how heavy Volk gets, he's a small man. You can be thick and stocky and really, really strong, which he is, but he's still a little guy, and Makhachev killed himself to make weight. He killed himself to make weight, and all respect to him, Makhachev's fans really get on my nerves, though. It's it just drives me nuts. By the way, guys, my throat is killing me today, so I really apologise for that. But let's talk a bit about Makhachev's fans. Who do they think they are? You know what they commented on one of my videos? Yeah, you silly little white boy, don't know anything about us. You're all too white. And I was sat there and I was like, Islam Makhachev is from the Caucasian mountains. He's more white than me. What are you talking about, mate? Yes, he's a Muslim, but he's not brown, he's not black, he's Caucasian. And you guys all saying Islam Makhachev he doesn't care about you. I'm sure he doesn't want his fans saying, "Oh, you're too white to understand," when he's Caucasian. He's from Caucasian mountains. His roots are Caucasian. You know, and fair play to Makhachev. I do think he's a massive weight bully though, and as long as you make 155, no problem, like no problem whatsoever. But seeing how difficult it was for him to make it this time round does scare me a bit. You know, it's a bit like, oh, gee whiz, here we go. You know. But I've always been a massive advocate for, if you make the weight, you're that weight class. You know, if you can get that low, it's just part of the sport. Cutting weight is the worst part of the sport, and it's like the cardio of, like, what's a sport that I could say, like for example, maybe weight cutting in boxing isn't as bad because there's so many weight classes, and boxers have this massive thing of, oh, I need to drop 2 more pounds because then I can't compete at my best. I do get it. Whenever I hit the bag, or whenever I train, whenever I'm at the gym and I'm fully fueled, eating really well that day, I train so well and I feel so strong, so powerful. And if I was to go into a fight a bit drained after not having a meal, I wouldn't feel good. And that's one of the issues with weight cutting, is just managing it in a correct way. And Makhachev does manage it in a correct way. You know, we've seen him go 5 rounds. I just feel like with Makhachev, he's so good in terms of being patient and just finding that shot, which we never had with Khabib, mainly because we've never seen Makhachev apply the same kind of pressure as Khabib did. However, we did see it a wee bit tonight. Volkanovski was on the back foot early. It's not a wasted opportunity. Volkanovski knew he could do it. I was very confident Volkanovski could actually go out there and beat him, but realistically, when you're that small of a man, you've really only got your 1-2 leg kick. You know, a hook's always going to get overdone a wee bit, or there's always going to be something niggling and naggling you as you make your way in. It's a very, very difficult fight to win. It was always going to be such a tough fight to win, but what can I say? Makhachev went out there and he did it. I'm very, very happy for him. You know, me and the Dagestani fan base might not get along too well, despite Makhachev being Caucasian and they saying Makhachev's brown, but it's, you know, it's okay. It's just whatever. They're all idiots. I'm very happy for Makhachev. You know, he annoys me a wee bit because he's fake humble. He says, oh, he's humble at this and that, and then he just comes out with stuff. But I suppose when you're the man and when you're a champion and when you're a scary individual, I just think they look a bit funny. I'm a bit afraid of them, to be honest. They just look like this weird little inbred cult, and it's because they all look the exact same and they all talk the same, but that's their culture, that's their part of the world. And I was riding on Volkanovski to go into this, and if he wants to fight Topuria in January, get home, get recovered, eat for a week, relax, then get straight back to it. Dust off the cobwebs and go make a statement again in January. Alexander Volkanovski's never been a superstar, so this hasn't really, I don't think this really affects too much. You know, realistically, what is his record? Like 26-3, 24-3? Doesn't matter. You lose, you're still the champ at 145. You're never going to be the biggest superstar. You're 35, you've just been knocked out. You haven't really lost too much stock. If you're still the champ and you can go down there and do the business, that's fair enough. But my worry is Topuria catches him. If Topuria catches him, which Topuria's got the best style to beat Alexander Volkanovski if he can deal with the strength and the takedowns, is literally just uppercut, left hook, right hand, jab, jab, right hand. Topuria's boxing, MMA style of boxing is incredible. I'm really worried about Topuria actually being able to do it. But if Topuria does it, Sean O'Malley versus Ilia Topuria. Let O'Malley defend his title in January. Maybe you know, put someone on the co-main of his card, make it a big card. Maybe February. I'd imagine O'Malley comes back in February. And then, you know what? International Fight Week headliner, Topuria versus O'Malley. Holy shit, that's a massive fight. That could be literally one of the... That's a massive fight. If O'Malley gets 2 belts wrapped around him, looking how he looks and having the rise that he had, he would blast into a new level of fame and superstardom. And it's so weird because he's always said it. I don't know how I've ended up talking about Sean O'Malley, but he's always said that was going to happen. He said he's destined for big fights. He's destined for this and that. Now it's happening. So very exciting things. Very exciting times. But fair play to Islam Makhachev. And what's next for him? Oliveira. You have to do it. You have to give him Oliveira. Give him Oliveira in March or April. And then I think that's what I said before, isn't it? I said get Oliveira back in there March, April, May, and then that'd be perfect, I think. Hopefully March, so Oliveira's not out for a full year by the time it comes around to May or June, you know. Get Oliveira versus Makhachev on the go, and then we'll have a little bit of Justin Gaethje maybe versus Islam or the winner, you know. So we'll see what happens. But thanks very much for watching the video, folks. Don't forget to subscribe. What a night it's been. Great night of fights. I'm joking. They were awful. What a terrible fight night it was. I wouldn't even call that a pay-per-view, but fair play to Islam Makhachev, and he's more Caucasian than me. Fantastic. See you later, folks. Love you to bits. Goodbye.